Remember him as our board chair. He hosted this event in 2014. So Joe, if you'd like to come to the stage and take it.
Thanks everybody for being here today. I am Joe Haggerty. I've been CEO of the Chamber now for 3 months. Someone asked me, am I going for the 4th month? The answer is yes. So if you tweet by any, some of you look like you're young enough to be tweeting. So if you tweet, it's Alexandria Chamber of Commerce Valor. So it's ACOC Valor, okay? But before we begin, just want to remind you it's a big day today for ACT, Spring to Action Day. And is John Porter here? I didn't see John come in. He's supposed to be here to say a few words about it. Okay, so special day for giving. And if you have an interest in a particular charity or you want to give, just go on this site, go on the ACT site, Alexandria Community Trust. And so on your tables is some information about the Police Foundation, which is one of the organizations you can give to, and to Friendship Veterans Fire Engine Association. Right? So get on and give some money today. They're trying to raise $1 million from Alexandria citizens, and they want 10,000 givers. So that's John Porter's speech, and if he comes in, he's missed it now. So. Also, 2016 marks the 150th anniversary of the Alexandria Fire Department. Throughout the year, the Fire Department will be holding events to highlight its past, present, and future. And if you didn't see it on the way in, they have an 1863 steam engine, the Champion, sitting outside today. So be sure to check it out on your way out if you didn't see it on your way in. So as Sherry said, this is our 30th year. We're proud to present this program. The event is always one of our most popular and celebrates true community spirit. And it's really one of the reasons that we are an attractive community to live in. But because of the people here today that keep us safe, Alexandria wouldn't be, we're on the map for being one of the most livable cities, for being the best city for so many things. It just wouldn't happen without the safety professionals that are here to take care of us today. So our award winners are really the personification of the word hero. During times of exceptional peril to our citizens and to themselves, these safety professionals find it within themselves to help all of us and to protect us. So today we bestow the Value Award on 16 men and women who have made extraordinary decisions and performed extraordinary acts. They are our heroes. So let us begin our program today with the presentation of colors by the Combined Honor Guard. Once the colors have been posted, Deputy Sheriff Dean Best will come forward to sing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Deputy Sheriff Dion Best. And would you join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. And now, Police Captain Don Hayes will offer the invocation.
Let us pray. To the only wise and eternal God, we come before you with thanksgiving in our heart for this great occasion where we honor those where you said we should honor, for honor is due to those who do great things. And so we thank you for the 16 men and women who went the extra mile, put their lives on the line that someone else might be saved. We thank you for all that you do in our lives. We thank you for this Valor Awards. We thank you for this city. We thank you for all that takes place here. We ask now for your blessings upon the food that will be used to nourish our bodies. We pray this in your name. Amen.
Thank you all. We're going to begin the program in a few minutes, but please sit down and have your lunch. Thanks. Okay, everyone, we're going to begin our program. Please continue to enjoy your lunch. An organization like the Chamber of Commerce really cannot be successful without leadership and without volunteer leaders. And many of our board members are here today and past chairs of the Chamber. I'd like to ask them to stand for quick recognition. Up, 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 up. Good. Thank you. And I'd like to pay particular attention to our presenting sponsor today, Inova Alexandria Hospital, and we are happy to host Susan Carroll, the CEO of Inova Alexandria Hospital. As you know, the hospital is a very important part of this community and of keeping all of us, including me, healthy. So Susan, thank you for that. So please welcome Susan to say a few words, the CEO of Inova Alexandria Hospital.
Readjust this. Okay, thank you so much for having me today. Inova Alexandria is proud to participate in the 2016 Public Safety Valor Awards. Today, we have the honor of recognizing men and women who sacrifice daily to meet the needs of our city. The health of this city requires dynamic partnerships between agencies across the city working together to better serve Alexandrians and the region. The honorees here today exemplify a commitment that reflects one of the core tenets that we like to promote at Inova, serving our community well every day, every time, every touch. I'd just like to give a special thank you to all members from Public Safety for their courageous, often life-saving actions. On behalf of the entire Inova team and Inova Alexandria Hospital, I can truly say we feel privileged to partner with such an outstanding agencies that are here in the City of Alexandria. Thank you so much, and congratulations to all of our honorees today. I'm gonna walk down.
Thank you, Susan, and Susan and her staff are very involved in the community and certainly very involved in the chamber, so we thank you for that. Just a couple of mentions. Our awards today, the engraving of the medals, was of course done by King's Jewelry. Where's Brad? Brad Bradford, where are you, Brad? There he is, right over there. Okay, thank you, Brad. And Alexandria Cupcake, and Adnan, where are you? He's over there also. Oh, Adnan. I like the mint chocolate, but they have great Alexandria cupcakes. So, our other sponsors, by the way, and you'll see their names on the tables, have asked members of the three departments to join them at the table. So thanks to all of our sponsors for making this happen today. And we're so glad that so many of you are here and that you were willing to share your tables. So thank you. Our city officials are here. So first, Mayor Allison Silverberg. Allison, thank you for being with us. City Council Member Del Pepper. City Manager Mark Jenks. And former Mayor Bill Ewell. And we have I see a couple of former City Council members, David Speck and Terry Donald. I see you over there. All right, both of you. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Any other elected officials in the room? No. Okay. Finally, we wanted you to know that Senator Mark Warner has sent each honoree a personal letter. They will receive the letters today as we give them their awards. And of course, we also want to acknowledge the three men who lead these departments. Police Chief Earl Cook is with us at the head table. Sheriff Dana Longhorn. And Fire Chief Robert Dubé. And many of you probably know, but the group that makes these decisions about the awards meets for a long time to look at all kinds of recommendations. But there are representatives from the three departments that help us make those decisions. We don't try to make those decisions alone. So for most of us as business people, the nature of our business is we don't normally think about bad things happening as we go to work every day. For the men and women here in this room, though, that's a reality that's different hangs over their heads and their families every day. As they go about their work protecting us, they do have to think about that. In fact, the recent losses in our neighboring jurisdictions are a grim reminder of the fact that bad things can happen. And we know some of the officials and some of the chiefs couldn't be here today with us because they're at services or they're helping other jurisdictions. This is why it's our privilege here at the Chamber to continue to honor all of those who risk your lives for us every day. We especially salute the 16 brave women and men who showed exceptional poise and courage in extraordinary circumstances this past year. Their acts of valor have meant the difference between life and death for some of our citizens and the difference between a strong community. To help us celebrate today, we're extremely fortunate to have Yu Yang serving as our guest narrator. So I was watching Channel 4 this morning. Ang came on and said we're going to have a great day and beautiful weather, so thank you very much. She anchors Channel 4 News in the morning. Her day starts at 4 o'clock in the morning, they say, but she tells us she got up at 2:30 this morning. She's also the Emmy Award-winning host of Foodies, a great show which you all need to watch when you want to know which restaurant to go to. So Washington area viewers have watched her during many big events, the blizzard, of course, but she's also covered presidential inaugurations, visits from 2 different popes, and has anchored live from the field for the Nationals opening day. So she grew up in the Washington area, graduated from Paint Branch High School, and earned her journalism degree from the University of Maryland. So please welcome An Yang.
Thank you so much, Joe. I heard a collective gasp when he told you that I woke up at 2:30 in the morning. My day does start very early. 4:26 is when we go on the air, and I know a lot of you are very early risers because of your jobs, because you just want to have some quiet moments before you get your day started. Some of you are working out. I watch you on the treadmill, which is great too. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate that you are having me here for this wonderful event. It is just an honor to be with you this afternoon as we recognize and celebrate the brave men and women who are on the front lines every single day keeping our community safe. So many of you in this room today put your own lives at risk to put others first and to protect others. In just a few months of 2016, we're already mourning too many law enforcement officers and emergency responders. We know a lot of people aren't here today because they're attending the funeral of fallen firefighter in Prince George's County, John Olmschneider. And some of the firefighters are going beyond that from Alexandria who are covering for the Prince George's County firefighters so they can attend the funeral of their fallen brothers. That's the kind of brotherhood you have here. That is the kind of work and the respect you have for each other, and it is something to be admired and respected, so we thank you for that. We remember the first 6 responders who died in the line of duty since 2015, and we continue to pray for their loved ones and their neighbors and their communities. Thank you for all the good work that you do. Thank you for doing it often out of the spotlight, and we thank you for helping our families sleep better at night. So congratulations to our awardees, and congratulations to really all of you today. Okay, now for the awards. Don't do what I did and hop over on this side. When I call your names, the recipients and the chiefs, please come this way. There is a staircase for you, and enter the stage as I call out your names. We'll begin with the fire department. Will Mayor Allison Silberberg and Fire Chief Robert Dubé please come on up here with firefighter Christina Holt and Captain Jason Waymayer. Please come to the stage. I don't like close enough. You're going to have to tell me how to say me. Thank you. Waymeyer. He said close enough. I don't like to be close enough. I want to get it right, especially on this day. On July 2nd, 2015, Captain Jason Waymeyer and firefighter Christina Holt were volunteering in a support staff capacity for the World Police and Fire Games hosted by the Fairfax Fire and Rescue. They were volunteering at a cycling race in Prince William County, Virginia. Around noon, a high-speed chase happened involving several cyclists, and even though they were not part of the safety crew at the race, they saw the severity of the accident and immediately offered assistance to the medic crew that was on the scene. Captain Waymeyer and firefighter Holt began helping the injured riders, and several riders were transported to area trauma centers. Firefighter Holt found out where the gravely injured rider was being transported and went to the hospital. Once there, she served as a liaison for the family and for the Brazilian team. She stayed with them for countless hours over the next several days. Her willingness to help and the tremendous amount of support that she gave the rider's family and teammates are unforgettable. One rider sadly did not survive his injuries, and the other severely injured rider has been making progress toward recovery. The quick responses from Captain Waymeyer and firefighter Holt and the others undoubtedly led to that cyclist's survival. For their efforts, Captain Waymeyer and firefighter Holt are presented with life-saving awards. Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. Will Captain Wells Wilson please come to the stage now? On May 16th at 6 a.m., Alexandria Department of Emergency Communications received a call for a building on fire. The caller could not provide a good address. DEC received a number of calls for this fire and struggled to find the right address. The call was dispatched and Engine 206 located the fire and reported it as 4754 Kenmore Avenue. Captain Wells Wilson was already off duty when the call came in, but he put on his fire gear and rode to the fire with Battalion 212 to assist at the command post. When he arrived, Captain Wells went to do a size-up of the fire building. When he saw that the rear of the building, he radioed command that they had a fire victim who had jumped from the 3rd floor. The fire was from the top floor all the way through the roof, and there was fire on balconies on the 1st and 2nd floors. Captain Wilson knew there were people in need of rescue on the upper floors. He assisted the victims until EMS arrived, and once EMS arrived, he assisted the truck deploy portable ladders for the rescues. For his valiant efforts, Captain Wells is presented with the Certificate of Valor. Congratulations, Captain. Will Sheriff Dana Lawhorn and Deputies Manuel Lee, Myrna Juarez, Devin Nichols, and Sini Bearden please come to the stage? I know, Mayor. Well, I'll scoot down this one. Here we go. Come on down. All right. Scoot down, okay. The fast and effective teamwork of deputies at the William G. Truesdale Adult Detention Center paid off when an inmate attempted suicide by hanging. Just before 1:30 p.m. on March 27th of 2015, an accused bank robber facing a lengthy prison sentence on federal charges wrapped a sheet around a railing and the other end around his neck. In a matter of seconds, he made his way over the railing and then lowered himself down until he was hanging by his neck. Inmates in the unit quickly called for Deputy Manuel Lee, who ran to the other side of the day room and saw the man hanging. Deputy Lee grabbed the man's body and held it up in an effort to relieve tension on the sheets. Deputy Lee yelled for help, and Deputy Myrna Juarez, working nearby, ran to his aid, as did another inmate. Deputy Juarez called for all available staff to respond and for medical personnel. Deputy Juarez ran to the mezzanine level then to untie the sheet, just as Deputy Devin Nichols and Deputy Sini Bearden responded to the unit. Deputy Nichols then immediately joined Deputy Lee and the other inmate, trying to hold up the man's body to reduce the pressure. Deputy Bearden then made it to the mezzanine level to help Deputy Juarez and another inmate untie the tight knot that was in the sheet. Deputy Juarez was able to free the sheet from the railing, and Deputy Nichols slowly lowered the man to the ground. He attempted to get the man to respond, and Deputy Lee could see that the man was in distress. Deputy Nichols rolled the man to his side so that breathing would be easier for him. The deputies maintained custody of the man as medics then transported him to the hospital for treatment of his injuries. The man survived and fully recovered. Because of their outstanding efforts and teamwork, Deputies Manuel Lee, Myrna Juarez, Devin Nichols, and Sini Bearden were able to save the life of an inmate who took extreme measures. They are presented today with a life-saving award. Well, what pictures? We need pictures. We got to get pictures. Congratulations. Congratulations. Will Deputy Sheriff Joseph Runquist please come to the stage? All employees at the Alexandria Sheriff's Office are certified in first aid and CPR and receive regular training to ensure that they remain current on the correct techniques. Thanks. On the night of April 10th, 2015, Deputy Joseph Runquist was off duty and having dinner at the Outback restaurant in Springfield. He observed a commotion at a nearby table where a woman was choking and in distress. Deputy Runquist immediately approached the table and quickly noticed that the man trying to help the woman was doing the Heimlich maneuver the wrong way. Deputy Runquist identified himself as an Alexandria deputy sheriff and a trained first responder. The man stepped aside and Deputy Runquist performed the Heimlich maneuver on the woman. After applying a few thrusts, he asked the woman if her airway was clear and she shook her head, indicating it was not. Then he again applied multiple thrusts, and then he heard the woman gasping for air, and he saw a piece of meat on the floor and asked her if she could breathe. And although she was coughing, she indicated that she could indeed breathe at that point. Deputy Runquist had dislodged that obstruction from her throat. The woman's companion, other customers, and the restaurant manager were elated that Deputy Runquist's intervention had been successful. Thank God he was there when he was. The couple and the restaurant staff wanted to pay for Deputy Runquist's meal to show their appreciation, but he politely declined that offer. However, he did take the time to show the woman's companion the correct way to perform the Heimlich maneuver. Talk about full service right there. Because of Deputy Runquist's observations, prompt action, and thorough training, he was able to save a woman from potentially choking to death. For his actions, Deputy Runquist is receiving a life-saving award. Congratulations. Congratulations. Now will Police Chief Earl Cook and Officer Jonathan Lopez please come to the stage? On July 26th, Officer Jonathan Lopez responded to assist fire and medics with a call for an unconscious man. He arrived before medics and located the caller, who led Officer Lopez to an apartment where he observed a man lying unresponsive on the floor. The victim's face was purple and he was not breathing. Officer Lopez began performing CPR on the victim and continued for over 2 minutes until medics arrived. Officer Lopez spoke to the other people in the apartment who told him that the victim did not live at the residence and had spent the night on the couch. He woke up that morning and went into the kitchen to get a glass of water. He started to say that he was not feeling well, and then he began to lose consciousness. Officer Lopez saved him that day, and because of the quick actions, the victim survived. Officer Jonathan Lopez is presented with a life-saving award today. Congratulations. Will Officer Carl Stowe please come to the stage? On the afternoon of July 21st, Officer Carl Stowe responded to a call for larceny. He arrived in the 800 block of South Pickett Street and located the victim. As he was speaking to the victim at a local store, an employee from a nearby other business ran in, frantically saying that one of her coworkers had passed out and was not breathing. Officer Stowe quickly followed the employee into his business, and then he went into the office where he found the victim on the floor with several people surrounding him. Two of his coworkers had begun to administer CPR. Officer Stowe noticed that the victim was not breathing and could not find a pulse. So he immediately notified Communication Center of the victim's condition, and then Officer Stowe took over for the victim's coworkers and began performing CPR. He continued to administer CPR until he was relieved by medics. The victim was transported to Inova Alexandria Hospital and admitted in critical condition. Thanks to Officer Stowe's quick actions and training, the victim survived. And for his valor today, Officer Carl Stowe is presented with the Life Saving Award. Congratulations. Will Sergeant Patrick Taylor and Officer Alexa Mastro-Stefano please come to the stage? On August 2nd of 2015, at approximately 10:15 p.m., Lieutenant Michael Cochis was on foot patrol in the 1000 block of Montgomery Street when he heard multiple gunshots coming from the area of 1st and North Patrick Streets. He immediately reported the incident over the radio and headed toward that area. Sergeant Patrick Taylor heard Lieutenant Cochis' call. Sergeant Taylor was nearby and began to make his way to the area. He turned into an alley that ran along the 1000 block of 1st Street and encountered several people who were pointing to the south area where the alley intersected with another alley. He hastily headed in the direction they were pointing, and then turning the corner, Sergeant Taylor encountered a disoriented man walking through the alley. Unsure whether the man was a suspect or a victim, Sergeant Taylor waited until he could see his hands to approach. He asked the man to sit on the pavement. He failed to do so. It was at this point that Sergeant Taylor noticed that the man was bleeding profusely from his hip. His disorientation was progressing to unconsciousness. Officer Mastro-Stefano had been responding to the scene when she heard Sergeant Taylor ask for units to come priority to his location. She arrived just as Sergeant Taylor was walking toward the man and urging him again to sit down. A resident then emerged from behind Sergeant Taylor and gave the man a chair to sit in, just as he lost consciousness. Officer Mastro-Stefano observed the man profusely bleeding from his hip as well. Acting quickly, she removed the man's shoes and pants and observed several gunshot wounds on his hip and left leg. As the resident brought out medical supplies, Officer Mastro-Stefano applied pressure to the gunshot wounds in an attempt to control the bleeding. The resident handed her a tourniquet and Officer Master Stefano began administering the tourniquet, but then realized it was missing a piece and was unable to be secured. So she held the tourniquet secure with one hand, while then she applied pressure to one wound with her knee, and then used the other hand to apply pressure to an additional wound. Medics arrived, and the man was placed into an ambulance and transported to Fairfax Hospital. Officer Master Stefano rode with the victim to the hospital, holding onto the tourniquet the whole time, while medics treated the victim. As a direct result of Officer Master Stefano and Sergeant Taylor's actions, the victim survived the gunshot wounds and will make a full recovery. For their efforts, Officer Master Stefano is presented with a life-saving award, and Sergeant Taylor is presented with a Certificate of Valor. Congratulations, thank you. What's that? The citizens who provided the tourniquet are here today. Can we just stand to recognize you for your efforts in helping the tough situation, please? Thank you. Will Jane Hollenbeck of Dominion, Sergeant Daniel Plank, and Officer Stephen Riley please come to the stage? During the early morning hours of January 1st, the first day of the year, the Emergency Communications Center received a call for a domestic incident in progress. The distraught caller advised there was a known person in her home and he was going to kill her. The call was disconnected a short time later. Officer Stephen Riley requested to be added to the call. He was familiar with the suspect and his lengthy history of violence. In fact, Officer Riley had recently obtained a warrant for the suspect for strangulation and domestic assault and battery after using a belt to strangle the same victim who had placed this 911 call. Officer Riley was the first to arrive on the scene. He approached the apartment building and could hear a man and a woman yelling and screaming. As he walked down the hallway toward the second-floor apartment, the suspect suddenly opened the door. And as soon as the suspect saw Officer Riley, he slammed the door and locked it behind him. He quickly realized the severity of the situation and selflessly decided to enter the apartment without waiting for backup to assist him. He began to kick down the door, and after 4 tries, the door gave in. At this point, Sergeant Dan Plank arrived and swiftly joined Officer Riley in the doorway. They had their firearms drawn, and the officers made their way inside the apartment. The victim was standing in the living room, screaming. She said the suspect was in the back room. Cautiously, both Sergeant Plank and Officer Riley approached the back bedroom and yelled at the suspect to come out with his hands up. Thankfully, the suspect complied, and as he left the bedroom, the suspect was ordered to the ground where he was handcuffed and placed under arrest. For their efforts, Sergeant Daniel Plank is presented with a Certificate of Valor, and Officer Stephen Riley is presented with a bronze medal. Congratulations. Will Officers Matthew Barnacle and Richard Vergara please come to the stage? We know Richard's not here. On October 31st, 2015, at approximately 10:34 p.m., officers were dispatched for a motor vehicle collision with a car on fire. There were reports that a person was possibly trapped in that burning car. Numerous officers, as well as the Alexandria Fire Department, were dispatched. Officer Matthew Barnacle and Officer Richard Vergara arrived on the scene and ran to the burning vehicle. The officers observed a large cloud of smoke surrounding two vehicles. A silver Impala had crashed into the vehicle in front of it and was on fire with flames shooting out of the right side of the car. The front end was completely engulfed, with the smoke making it hard to see inside the vehicle. The smoke was so thick that neither officer could see anyone inside the vehicle. The officers noticed the front wheels of the vehicles were turned at a high rate of speed. It was later determined this was due to the gas pedal being held down by the unconscious driver. The momentum of the Impala had been halted by the vehicle it struck. However, the car was still inching forward. Officer Barnacle attempted to open the driver's side door, only to find that it was locked. He drew his expandable baton and used it to break the driver's side window, and then he reached into the burning vehicle, and then unlocked the door. A billow of black smoke then shot out of the car. As it cleared, the officers could see an unconscious female buckled into her seat. Without hesitation, Officer Barnacle and Officer Vergara entered the smoke and flame-filled vehicle, attempting to release the driver from the seatbelt. Together, both officers were able to get the unconscious female free and pull her to safety. Within seconds, the entire vehicle was engulfed in flames. It was later determined the driver had been under the influence of alcohol and was driving without a license. After crashing into the vehicle in front of her, the driver's foot stayed on the gas pedal, causing the front wheels to spin. This caused the vehicle's tires to shred and burn off, leading the metal rims to then dig into the asphalt. The friction is what caused the car to catch fire. For their valor and heroism, Officers Barnacle and Vergara are awarded silver medals. And Officer Vergara is continuing to serve his country and is currently in Iraq. How about that? His father, Richard Vergara, is here to accept the award on his behalf. Big congratulations. And a quick shout out to Mrs. and Mr. Barnacle who watch us in the morning. You're so sweet to come say hi. So thank you, appreciate it. Can we just give another huge round of applause to all our awardees this afternoon? Thank you so much for all that you do, and thank you to the other officers and deputies and firefighters here today for the work that you do every day. Thank you so much. Oh, that's so sweet of you. All right, let me switch places.
All right, we have to switch this way.
There. Oh, that's so pretty.
So Ang is not finished with her work today. She has 3 kids and has to go pick them up at school in a little bit. Yep. So we want to thank her for sharing her time. We want you to come back anytime and be with us, please. Thank you. Thank you. We also especially want to thank the reps who worked with us. Let's see, that was Chanel Coit and Amy Bursch from the Sheriff's Department, Crystal Nozal from the Police Department, and Cameron Hall from the Fire Department. Crystal?
Come on stage, Crystal.
Thank you.
Come on up here. Thank you.
Where's Cameron? Come on over here. You got a picture. Come on, Cameron. Thank you. So a special thank you to the Chamber staff who worked with these four women, all four, and to Ann Dorman for helping us with the script. That's a pretty lengthy script. So thank you so much, all of you. Now, we'd like you to stand while we retire the colors. Thank you all. Many of you have pretty tight schedules, we know that, so we are going to adjourn. But we ask all the honorees to please come forward so we can have a group picture with all of you. And thank you all for being here.